Hey everyone, today we are in Frisco, Oklahoma. This is just north of Yukon, and we're here to see one man, an important figure in the Old West. So let's go inside and pay him a visit. So just to let you know where we are at in the cemetery, that is the front entrance gate, and you can see the American flag and the pavilion. And just in the second section on your right, as you come in through there, you make your way over, you'll see this Old West lawman legend right here. He was one of the three guardsmen, Chris Madsen, and you can see that he's listed there as Christian Madsen, 1851 to 1944. He was only married once, and you can see here that his wife Maggie B was born in 1871, 20 years difference, but passed away in 1898. So he visited this cemetery yearly, from what I understand. Chris Madsen was a veteran of 4 wars and a former U.S. Marshal in Oklahoma. He was born as Christian Madsen Remorse in Denmark on February 25, 1851. He served as a soldier in the Danish army where he fought against the Prussians in 1866. Later on, he joined the French Foreign Legion to fight in the Algiers. He returned to fight in France in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870. He was taken prisoner in the Battle of Sedan in 1870 and was also injured. There he escaped and returned to France to join a band of guerrillas. He fought with Garibaldi in Italy, and when he had been banished by his homeland, he came to the United States in 1876. After coming to the U.S., he simplified his name by dropping the last name, and from there on, he was only known as Christian or Chris Madsen. Once in the U.S., he failed to find a job in New York City, so he enlisted in the U.S. Cavalry and served in the 5th Cavalry. He served in the outfit for 15 years, and it put him in the midst of various Indian wars. In 1887, he came to Fort Reno as Regimental Quartermaster Sergeant. There he helped patrol a section of Oklahoma opened in 1889. During the opening, he made the race and staked a quarter section which had been farmed by Ben Keith as an Indian allotment northeast of El Reno. Keith had discovered that he had a quarter section too much in his holdings and turned it over to Madsen. He and his wife resided on this tract for 10 years until his wife Maggie died on May 2, 1898. When El Reno was organized, he participated in the organization of the first city council. In 1891, he left the Army and became Deputy U.S. Marshal under William Grimes. He worked with Heck Thomas and Bill Tilghman, and together they became known as the Three Guardsmen of Oklahoma. They were largely responsible for wiping out lawlessness in the Oklahoma Territory. He had earned a reputation as a fighter who would never give up. He was instrumental in hunting down Bill Doolin and the rest of his gang. He was personally responsible for killing Dan Dynamite Dick Clifton, George Red Buck Wakeman, and Richard Little Dick West, who were all part of the Doolin gang. He also escorted Al Jennings, at one time county attorney of Canadian County before his embarkation on the train holdup trail, and Ben Craven to the federal penitentiaries. In 1898, he joined Theodore Roosevelt's Rough Riders, serving as Quartermaster Sergeant. After the Spanish-American War, Madsen returned to Oklahoma Territory. In 1911, he was appointed U.S. Marshal for the entire state of Oklahoma. While in his 60s, he was appointed Chief of Police of Oklahoma City from 1918 to 1922. He also served as Special Investigator for the Governor of Oklahoma. He had tried to enlist in the U.S. Army at the onset of World War I, but he was rejected due to his age. In 1933, he resigned from his last official position as bailiff of the federal court of the Western District. He was living in Guthrie, Oklahoma when he died peacefully at the age of 93 on January 9, 1944. He was buried in the Frisco Cemetery next to the love of his life, Margaret Bell Morris Madsen. Together they had 2 children, a daughter named Marion and a son named Reno. The cemetery is only a few miles from where he and his wife homesteaded. Chris has always been highly regarded by the community of Frisco, even to this day. He never married again after his wife died, and he came at least once a year to place flowers on her grave. He always tried to make sure that she and her parents were taken care of. The flowers were purchased locally in the community and were often handmade of paper. Now, when I say he came here, it really would have been quite the task. Many of those years it would have been on horse and buggy all the way from Guthrie, Oklahoma or Oklahoma City. There was one year in particular that the caretaker of the cemetery lost their home in a fire. It was a complete loss. All of the belongings were gone, as well as the house and all of the cemetery records. Upon hearing the news of the fire, Chris came from Guthrie with a wagon full of supplies for the family. Anything and everything that they needed, he tried to give them. That could have been money, lumber, a tent, food, or you name it. In fact, he even rode into El Reno and back to haul more supplies for the family. The descendants are still in the area of Frisco and are quick to tell you how nice he was to the family as well as helpful. Chris has always been admired as a lawman and one of the 3 guardsmen in Oklahoma. But Frisco considers him one of their own and one of their most beloved people. So you may be asking yourself, why does Madsen have just a plain marker like this? How come you can't tell any history on him if he's so legendary? And I think he was just a simple man, just wanted something simple, and that's what he had here. But times have changed. A lot of these lawmen have had things erected later on to tell the history of who they are. The Cemetery Association is currently working on erecting something larger here. They have visited the graves of Heck Thomas and Bill Tilghman, and they've seen the large markers there that tell a little bit more about the men and their history, and they would like for Chris to have the same exact thing. They were working on that and pricing monuments and seeing how much money they needed to raise, and then all of a sudden a VFW post that I think was in El Reno decided to come in and take over that, and they said that they were going to place a monument here after they kind of raised some funds, and they wanted to get the press involved, make a story out of it, and just kind of celebrate this man and what he contributed to the territory and the state of Oklahoma. That was placed on hold with the pandemic that happened, so I'm hoping that this picks back up at some time, and when it does, rest assured I'll come out here and cover what they do as far as the ceremony, because I think they're going to have a big ceremony for this. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little video on a legendary lawman here in Oklahoma. As always, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.